Good morning, everybody. Well, good afternoon. Sorry, 12:40 in the afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to the late version here of really RainTALK. I just don't have RainTALK available, so I use Storm Talk. You guys get the idea. Hello, everyone. Yeah, Carrie, I saw you're on YouTube. And by the way, if I'm ever going to be running behind, I will post it on my Facebook page there. I don't have time to go through every social media account, so I know I always will hit my Facebook page first if you ever want to know where I'm at or something's wrong. If you know I'm supposed to be here, that is. And that's why. I hope that makes sense when you check it out there. But sorry again, this morning we had a few things we had to do this morning that couldn't get to, but I'm not able to now I'm able to talk to you guys for a bit and cover the game plan as we head through the rest of this week, the last week of October. How do we get into Halloween? Finally, the winter forecast, the snow gas contest, Hurricane Melissa, the trends toward November. It's overwhelming. There's a lot going on. So we're going to try to knock it out as best as I can for you all. Let's start, though, with my favorite theme. And that, of course, is the winter forecast. Oh, yes. It'll be here before you know it. Coming up on Halloween night. Now, it's important to know here that when this Halloween forecast comes out, it will be done through the Wave Weather app only. I don't think it's even going to go to social, I believe now. I think it's going to be only on the app itself. So you got to have the Wave Weather app. So Carrie, you're going to have to download that app. Roy, Patricia, hope you got it. Angela, I know you got it. Sean, I know you do as well. The notification will be out. It's roughly been generally the 8 o'clock hour. It kind of varies just a bit. I have to go to, after I get out of here pretty late on Halloween day, I have to go straight to bed because I have to get up early to do sunrise on Saturday, the 1st. So that's the reason why I decided, instead of giving the entire forecast out to you all right out of the gate, I'll give you the nuts and bolts of what a lot of people want to know. And then tomorrow, or Saturday morning, I will talk to you guys a little longer, and I'll go through the forecasting aspects of it all and answer some of your questions that you may have, and I'm sure you will, on what we're about to say as well. Fair enough? All right, that's the game plan for that. Of course, at that point, by the time we get into Halloween and into the discussion with the forecast, the snow gas contest will be over. So you still got the next few days to enter to join. Obviously, if you can't scan with the QR code because you're on your phone, you can go to the Wave Weather app, and it's listed right at the very top to go to the actual link, or you can go to my social media pages on Facebook or even the Wave Weather account. And that link, and you'll see the post there. So you can go to that and click it there. So there are multiple ways. Hundreds, if not thousands now, have signed up. I hadn't seen the last count, but it was climbing like crazy on Friday. But it is going up, and you have until midday on Friday. And again, if you guess the same date, and again, the whole point of it is to guess the date of the first 1 inch of snow at Ollie International Airport. If you pick the same date as someone else, then we will then look at the snow amount you picked when you fill out your form. So the snow amount is just as important as the date. Think when you do it, okay, what if it's a tie? Then what else can I do to stand out and win? So keep that in mind there. If it happens, you all pick the same date and you pick the same snow, well, then at that point, we will have to do a randomized drawing. And I got a feeling that may end up happening based on some of the dates everyone's selecting. At that point, you'll win that VIP tour, the Wave Studios, get a chance to see the blog room here, watch the control room, and you'll become our snow ambassador. We'll be checking in with you several times throughout the winter season and future snow events. Pretty cool package deal. Wish I had this when I was younger. I would definitely have tried as many opportunities as I could to try to get it right so I can get in there. But you only have one gas per household, so you got a limit. So choose wisely, as they say in Indiana Jones. Okay, so everybody go good on that. Type 1 if you're good. Type 1 if you're good on how it's going to work. You got to live close by, because to do the tour, you got to be able to drive here. So within Wave Country, if you are a viewer on antenna or just a viewer in general on your cable system watching us, then yeah, you should be within driving distance. But we want you here so we can plan accordingly whenever that day happens. Everyone good? Everyone good? Let's see. Yeah, I know. That's where we're going to make sure that the snow ambassador's here. So locally, you had Kroger. You don't need the tour. I don't need the tour. You're right. I've been in this building off and on since I was, how old was I? 8? Or I don't know if I was 10. Maybe I was 10 when I first hung out with Belsky. and then Tom Wills for a while. I know Craig Edwards for a while. I was young all the way through my teenage years. So, yeah, I've seen this building a lot, probably too much. It doesn't look the same either. That's the thing. There's very few parts of the building that look exactly the way it was when I got here. It's all been remodeled and changed over the years. But I hope you guys have fun with this contest. And we've been trying to get this back for the past several years, but the world has been, with the pandemic and everything that happened, it was really tough to get everything back on track. So we're trying to get back on track and trying to find something fun for you guys to do, because there is a lot of bad news out there, right? So we want you guys to have some good news and something fun to enjoy. All right, that's the whole point of the winter forecast too. Yes, there's going to be some science when you give you in the winter forecast, but I think logic kicks in for most of you, understanding that a lot of it does have an entertainment factor, especially when it comes to snow, predicting far out. But it's a tradition that we've always done, and I'm big on staying intact with tradition, so I'm not changing it up at all. All right, here we go. Let's dive into Melissa. I think that's the first thing we need to cover. Quite a switch of topics in the tropics into the Caribbean. That is, of course, Melissa, which got that buzzsaw look, Cat 5, 165, sustained winds, 200 is gust. What was wild about this is a path of the hurricane hunters that flew in earlier today. Here's their arrival. Let me see if I'm drawing this. Hold on. There we go. They drew in this morning, flew in, did a quadrant. They always do little quadrants to get wind speeds to kind of know, to make sure that it's still, developing in the white quadrants. There's no other factors, shear, dry air, getting entrenched, like that. So they got to spin around and plot a certain way. They started in the southwest, went into the northeast, went down out of the eye for a bit, out of the storm altogether, and then came back in and went into the eye, right through it. And they rated it in and said, this is too much. We can't do this. We cannot safely keep doing this. So these are the professionals that have flown through multiple Cat 5s before. But in this case, they said this is too much, and they canceled the mission and went back. First time I can recall, to be honest, I'm sure it's happened before, but it doesn't happen often enough to know it in the back of my head. So pretty rare setup there, but it gives you an idea that Melissa continues to get stronger, and it's just dangerous, not only flying at typically safe distances and travel. It's just a beast, an absolute beast. Not down to the Hurricane Gilbert level, which was in 1988. It passed Dorian's level, Hurricane Dorian, and it still has some pressure records it could still get to. It was, let's see what its pressure is. Let me bring up the stats on it. This will fly back down. Do we have pressure listed? We do not on there. Pressure last time I checked was 909 millibars. That's by all intents and purposes, that is certainly a Cat 5. You get down sub 900 level on pressure level. Now you're going to get into the records of one of the bigger systems in any ocean that take place. So this is going to really become one for the books. And unfortunately, it'd be nice to track it meteorologically if we didn't have to think about the idea that it's going to cause casualties, as it is going to be moving right over Jamaica later on tomorrow. Right now, it's been teasing Jamaica, just constantly battering. Heavy rain, wind, the beaches are just a mess. I'm hoping everyone, this has been such a slow evolving system to start with before it ramped up this weekend, and I hope everyone took those warnings seriously and got out of there. But some don't, and I get it. They don't have the means to. They're too afraid to. This is their home, their family. They don't have anybody else to go to. Unless you're in that situation, you can't judge them too much. All right, we do the same in the United States. We get mad at people. It's their fault. They didn't evacuate. Unless it's you, don't say that. Unless it's you and you know what it is like to be in that situation, then it's mentally, it's just a little different. All right. It's just a little harder to leave that safety blanket that you've always known your whole life. And so this is where hopefully a lot of crews came in and someone talked to them and said, hey, listen, I get it, but please just go with us. I hope those conversations happen in Jamaica and they got those folks out. But I'm sure there may be some that did stay behind. And the next 36 hours is going to be one that's going to test everything that they've ever known in life is going to be tested here in survival, because this is going to rake right over it tomorrow into Wednesday, then into Cuba. And still for Cuba standards, it's going to be a 2 to 3, Cat 2 to 3 size here. And it's going to get a little larger as it gets weaker too, but still causing some major impacts. Even in Turks and Caicos, it's going to be impacting them as well. And then the very edge of the Bahamas. with some problems. Florida looks good. I have no issues with Florida. It should miss that, and then it'll continue to head out to sea, and then it takes aim on Bermuda later next week there. So Bermuda, once again, will have another bit of Category 1 likely at that point. All right. When does it make the turn? Should be overnight tonight into Tuesday. Should is key, but overwhelming amount of data indicates that will happen. So confidence is much higher on that than it was before. But it's always got to babysit the systems. Could it go up to 185? It could. It still has enough water and room to keep going up to the next level into the 180s on wind speed. But it's already there as the strongest that at least Jamaica's ever seen. Jamaica, I think, was at low end Cat 4, was the highest on landfall they've ever had. This is going to take care of that already. So let's hope that we get good news out of here, folks. We don't have a lot of camera feeds there. We don't have radar data. There's not much I can tell you other than what we're getting from the Hurricane Center. And as soon as we get word on how everyone is after it passes and the aftermath, obviously not only us, but every network in the world is going to be watching this and covering it. So we'll let you know as we evolve throughout time. You see that track toward Bermuda again later next week there. All right, thoughts are with them. Let's hope it works out. All right, for us here at home, it's a lighter rain scenario. Very, very light rain today. This is a light looking cordon right now. Spotty drizzles and at times enough showers. We've had a lot of rain the last 24 hours. It's been very much a nuisance type of rain. Enough that you can still walk out to the car or check the mail and you have to need an umbrella, but enough that you're going to be wet for sure when you get back in. Especially our dogs, when let them out. Yeah, they may or may not want to go out there. But it's chilly, right? 40s and 50s. And with the general light nature of the rain, you're really just not going to improve that a whole lot here today. It's going to be relatively overcast and gloomy all day. The rain intensity is going to continue to dial back slowly but surely as we evolve the next 24 hours here. But right now, it's still patchy enough that at times you can get a few hundredths of an inch, maybe up to a quarter inch of rain out of the system. But it's got a limit to it. And the reason why it has a limit to it is because of energy transfer. Anytime a low pressure senses another body of water like this, especially the Atlantic all the way up to Nantucket, it does a transfer over because there's a natural low pressure that forms because of the difference between energy on land versus water. So because the pressures are dropping here already, this low pressure is weakening and will get absorbed basically. And the new low will form right here east of, say, Myrtle Beach to Charleston, somewhere in that area, maybe even Savannah. That'll be the new coastal storm, not anything tropical. It's a full-on just extratropical system that will develop. But this coastal storm is going to produce a lot of flooding for that area and heavy rainfall and then move out to sea ahead of Melissa. Because it is taking over, though, our section of it is falling apart. This thing is stealing the water away from it slowly but surely, and that's why in the next 12 to 18 hours, there's not much left for us other than low clouds and patchy areas of drizzle, and that's it, at least for this system. We're not done entirely, though, for an active week because our next system will then begin to develop. This is going to be up here into the upper Midwest. It will arrive as more of an open wave, a front dropping in as we head into tomorrow afternoon and evening. As it does so, a low pressure is going to form right on it on the southern side, not far from southern Missouri, that will dig into Memphis. And this low is really just going to crank up right over areas around West Kentucky and Tennessee and kind of just move to our south, move right over Kentucky, Tennessee, and then keeps moving and then takes a jog up the coast. And as long as it takes that track, it should pull everything out of here in time for Halloween. So we're betting on a lot of pieces coming together, but the data has at least agreed a lot more today than what it did even when I saw you guys Friday. So that's a good sign. So this low, when it digs in our area on Wednesday especially, that is the day to watch for the most impactful rainfall and travel conditions in general in wave country. So let's go through it. Here's the current setup: the spotty showers and drizzle in the area, fading away slowly but surely as we get later on tonight into Tuesday. Tuesday in general is going to be low clouds, some patchy areas of drizzle at times. Kind of similar to yesterday. Sunday evening was similar to this, spotty areas of drizzle and showers. Depends on where you're at. You can already see the approach, though, the boundary, and watch what happens. You'll see this low, pretty easy to figure out what's going on here. The low moves in as we move into your Wednesday morning, really cranks up the center of it, at least on the graph model, roughly here. not too far away from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, in the Hannibal, Missouri area. That's where we're going to be seeing the low pressure form. And it's going to throw all this, that's moderate rain in yellow, all that moderate rain in southern Kentucky just being thrown north right into the Ohio River area, and just repeats itself until the low moves a little more east. Here it is, the low east. Now we're on the backlash side as we're going to do Wednesday evening. And then by the time we get to Thursday, it slowly but surely, this is where the model ends, but slowly but surely after this Thursday morning window, it will begin to move away. How much rain are we looking at? Good soaking rain. I mean, a lot of 1 inch totals I think are going to come in. Some spots, any areas of patchy yellow that you may see will indicate a little bit more, some 2 inch totals, like 2.1, 2.3, maybe the high end. There's going to be a lot of like the 1.2s, 1.25, 1.3. That'll be very common. Some of you may be under that, but I think we're going to have such a broad area of rain. The totals are not going to be as varying as you would with thunderstorms if they were involved. And we are not looking at thunderstorms or severe weather. So this is a cold rain scenario. Again, if it was only cold enough for it to be snow, it would be exciting. But it's not. Shonda, rain the next 3 days. Yeah, it looks that way. Just different intensities, but Wednesday is the day. Wednesday is your 100% chance of rain. It is a washout day, Wednesday. That is our only true messy day that it's going to be really tough to get out of bed, tough to get around for work. Kids will be in a bad mood, moping around, trying to get them to school. They're going to be getting off the buses, and they're going to be wet trying to run to the car to try to get home. It's just going to be one of those days. Traffic's probably going to be a mess. I'm selling it all like it's apocalypse, but no. Sometimes traffic around here feels that way. But anyway, as you get around town, yeah, there's going to be a lot of slow traffic. Some people may hydroplane briefly because some of the leaves are going to clog up some of the drains. We go through this every time. So while it's not heavy rainfall, the steady nature of the rain with the clogged drain scenario will lead to hydroplaning in the metro area. I-65 near Eastern Parkway, as well as near Outer Loop on 65, not far from Fern Valley. You'll run into hydroplane issues. You run into several areas that will run into high water because of poor drainage. So please take it slow. I know you may have a cool looking car, but please don't show it off on Wednesday. Show it off when it's a better day to do that, if you're going to at all, but not in a day of rain like this. Too dangerous, and you can easily hit somebody else. So take it slow. It'll move in, move out, and that's the benefit to Halloween. And here we are. This is a snapshot of Halloween evening, trick-or-treat time, 7 p.m. Snapshot showing dry and cool, probably about 52, 53 will be the average temperature at trick-or-treat time. Coolio. We get into your weekend. Saturday still looks good daytime, but Saturday night, another little weak clipper will move in. So we'll start off dry early Saturday, about Saturday afternoon, evening. Very similar to what we just went through. Light showers will develop. Very spotty, and it could even be drizzle, but very spotty and patchy areas of light rain develop as we head into your Saturday. It's a little bit of that clipper we've been watching for a while. Still there, but not very strong. So that's, good in the sense that it's not going to be overly heavy, and it will make the Saturday and part of Sunday feeling a little crummy as it moves by. There's yet another one right on its heels as we move into Monday. Man, again, if only it were colder, these would be fun clippers. But you get the idea. Now, this is a hint. This is a crucial time period. Remember, some of the key data I get for the blog for the winter forecast happens this week to finalize the final piece. So my winter forecast details, when I put them out, are freshly typed because they're all right up to this moment. So seeing this kind of a pattern of these low pressures dropping in to the area, being slow, kind of cutoff lows, and a constant flow of clippers that follow in behind it. Oh, okay. So that gets a little interesting, right? So imagine a coastal profile, and you kind of know probably where this is going to go for the winter. But anyway, there's another cool dip there on the 4th. But after that, this is where the Euro stops. We should get at least some milder air, maybe back in the mid to upper 60s. The second week of November, that does appear likely before we see another drop happen a little bit after that. So a little bit of a back and forth window here for November, but no snow that I see. All right, just crummy rain, but typical for November standards too, as we set our clocks too, by the way. Back 1 hour this weekend. All right, let me get right into the 10-day, and I'll get to some of your questions. 56 today, it's going to be a struggle, guys, I'll be honest. 56 tomorrow, yeah, it's reachable. 47, that's fair. In fact, we may start off at 52, but I think majority of Wednesday afternoon will be spent in the 40s. That rain's too steady. You can't warm in that. And if anything, you're going to warm to whatever closer to the dew point is. So if the dew point is just a few degrees lower than that in the 40s, you're likely will keep dropping to that level. So I think 40s are likely. Thursday, rain chance is really lopsided very early in the day, like only rush hour. The rest of the day should be drying out quickly, and we'll keep Halloween dry and Saturday early dry, but just be mindful that Saturday night into Sunday, some light showers will likely come into play. We'll be working on that forecast today, kind of fine-tuning that. And as we get into next week, generally 50s for now, but some 60s may indeed show up. And I haven't picked the date yet. All right, that's fine. You got till Friday. Got till Friday at noon to get your date selected. And it's only one chance you can enter. So, take your time if you want to think about it. I know some are probably waiting to see what the outlook is in November right before they do it. I will discuss the long term, by the way, tomorrow. But that's it. I will not be discussing the long term anymore, other than within the 10-day after tomorrow. And that's just to be fair for everyone that's been guessing so far. I'm not going to get into the weeds on long-term stuff after tomorrow. I'll give you a hint of where we stand tomorrow. I think that's okay. But for the rest of the week, I will not be discussing it until we get to the winter forecast. I'm sure you can understand that and understand why it's fair to all your other friends here, right? Kathy, it would be cool to have snow again on Halloween. Been a few years. Yeah, I get that. It would be cool. It's happened twice since I've been here. Almost 2 years together that we had it. But there were only light amounts. They weren't really high in like 1993's event. It's hard to get something like 93. Everything had to really line up for that one. So, yeah, I do not see anything like that this week. So that's good. Any other questions? And if I miss them, I apologize because you keep going by on the screen can go fast sometimes, so I can't always keep up. So I apologize. Kenneth, how much does the government shutdown impact your winter forecast? There's some key data that I'll explain on the winter forecast today that I really, really need, and they are down right now because of the shutdown. So I'm still in the process of finding other ways to get that data without using my normal sources, but I may not have it. So I may have to do the winter forecast without fully knowing everything I normally would get at this time of the year. But I'm hoping that there are other elements that will still guide me in a good direction there. But good question. No doubt it is affecting it. Most of the data is available, but some of the key centers and research centers that are out there in the country that are not every day for the public, but they're for researchers. And like myself, they get involved in looking in data and try to figure out a solution. That kind of data is a little more restricted right now and blocked because it's not running. Are we done with the 70s? We could still hit 70 all the way into December. So no, I don't want to say that we're done with them. I don't think we're ever done with them any time of the year. So, but are they likely to happen? The 60s in November could get close. I'm seeing some of the raw numbers were 66, 60, 68. I got 169, but the rest of the ensembles that I'm looking on the side here were roughly coming into the 64 to 65 range. So, I mean, not too far off from it, but at least some 60s. Yeah, I think she'll come back. Which I guess in the days like Tom Wills did. Tom Wills never did a winter forecast. Tom was not able to do that. So Belsky always did. Most of her fun. John was always great. It's what got me excited about this kid. But Tom never would touch it. Tom was, it was more about long-term stuff with the Climate Prediction Center would have. I think you guys saw that post from Ryan. I think he pushed it out last week of their forecast, which just says above normal or below normal. But I like to have a little more fun and then give you guys a few more nuggets of data on it. And I tried my best. I'm not trying to just be, entertainment and dramatic for no reason. That's not the case. I really am trying to give you all some data that I think is starting to be the trend that we're noticing. We're starting to get more data than ever before. Even when I was started here we have more data available. And I'm just curious, is it working? Is there a repeating pattern we can latch onto? And the Earth does repeat itself. And if we can catch that signal and lock onto it and backtrace it, if we're able to do that, and we're able to an extent already now, but we can't get into some of the bigger events on timing, sometimes can be a little off. But if we can nail that down, wow, that would change forecasting in a huge way to know that we would know that next spring and summer how they would be already. We know that a winter storm coming through, a massive storm moving across the country sometime in January, may come back to be a severe weather event later on in the summer. So there's ways to do that already, but it gets very complex. I'm not going to get into it on the blog because it makes my head hurt trying to explain it. I can see it in my head, but sometimes it's hard for me to do it. I usually have to draw it. And if I start drawing, it'll look like a spaghetti plot and you guys will really get overwhelmed. But it is fascinating that we're able to do that. We really are. So I enjoy it. I get excited about it because I like to figure out the puzzle. I want to know why. I just want to know why. Why do things move this way? Why do things move that way? Why do things happen this way? I always want to know the why. So I don't like to just accept when we're wrong on the forecast and the forecast bust. I take it personally in a sense of like, well, I looked at everything. What did I miss here? What was missing in that model versus the reality that they couldn't figure out? And what can we do to make our modeling better? I want to figure out that X factor, we call it. May not ever find it. And in many cases, it probably won't because it's called the chaos theory. It's a theory for a reason that keeps us from ever figuring it out in a way. It's our block to keep the mystery of weather always a mystery. That also means job security. So, yeah, that works. Until AI tries to figure it out. They haven't yet. But we can always just pull the plug. All right, everything's shutting down on me for a different reason, not for you all on my weather system I'm working on right now. So I need to go ahead and get off of that. I'm going to go ahead and shut down. You guys are great. I appreciate you. I will see you guys coming up tomorrow on the blog. Hopefully at the normal time coming up for tomorrow. All right, have a good rest of the day. I'll see you today at 3 and at 4 o'clock. All right, take care, and I will see you all coming up on the flip side. Behave yourselves.